Thank you everyone for being here tonight. Especially those who really took time of their schedule. So thank you so much for being here. Okay, so maybe I will share my screen first so that it's easier for us to start with my presentation. Hold on, please. All right. Okay, so may I ask some feedback? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. All right. All right. So thank you, everyone. Let's start first with yes, Miss Carol, our host, already mentioned about the title of tonight's webinar. So it's ebb and flow. So the stop or the pause, and also the continuous motion, the flow. So this is one of the lessons that I've learned in music, and I want to share a few things with everyone tonight. Okay. So tonight's repertoire, it's French actually, but in English we say repertoire, which means program. So we have four main parts as mentioned. So an introduction, some stories about conservatory life and music education, the psychology of music, and a short performance. Okay. So before I begin my introduction, I want to ask our audience, does anyone here play any musical instrument? Maybe no. I can only see a few people who have videos, so you can just raise your hand digitally if you can or you play an instrument. Oh, okay. So sorry, I can't see all the screens now. Anyway, so I hope you'll be able to relate to what I'm going to discuss tonight if you are also a musician. And to start off, let me introduce myself. So my name, not full, my first name is Graciela, but please call me Grace. And my last name is Bautista. So, as mentioned earlier by our host, so I graduated with a Bachelor of Music course and with concentration on the violin. So, technically, I can be considered to have double majors in university. So that's music education, the teaching side, and also performing side. So, like a professional musician. So I graduated from the Conservatory of Music, Santa Isabel College. Now, for the history of my music teaching, I used to be a primary music teacher in a Montessori school in the Philippines. Yes, the name is Operation Brotherhood. Yes, and after I quit my job there as a music teacher, I became a freelance instrument teacher. So these are the instruments that I taught. Yeah, when I was a freelance musician and teacher. So actually, even before I graduated from from college, I already was teaching for since I was a second year college student. So I can say maybe teaching is my career ever since, has been my career ever since. And yes, I think my learners here definitely know me as a DCEC governess and supervisor for DCC Philippines. Okay. Now, to share something more about my background, I would like to share this photo of the Santa Isabel College Chamber Orchestra. So, I think this is the most complete photo I could find of us back then. So you can see me, I'm right here. Okay. And I belonged to this orchestra for about 4 years. And then a few months after I graduated, I still joined them. Yeah. So Maybe you might be wondering why or what is a chamber orchestra? So usually when you hear orchestra, it's a big group of musicians, right? So maybe about 100 or 200 members. But a chamber orchestra is composed of maybe about 20, 30 musicians. So it's a small group. And the word chamber actually means it's a small room. So um, for a small room, you need a small group of musicians. So that's where the chamber orchestra comes in. Okay. And then I would like to share some photos of our engagements, our activities when sorry, before that. So just to give you also a little bit of a background on what a chamber orchestra setting looks like. So this is the seating chart. So usually violins are on the left side of the audience, and then these three other instruments are in the middle. And then we have the viola, cello, and double bass. But this is not entirely the standard all the time. So some chamber orchestras change their layout, so to speak, every now and then. So I would like to proceed to this photo. These are the photos of one of our engagements when I was in college. Usually, we would have engagements in malls or some small gatherings as an orchestra, and yeah, for example, we play in weddings, in such kinds of events, such as this one, like a grand opening of a mall, sometimes on Valentine's Day or Christmas or Mother's Day. So we would usually have outside engagements for our orchestra and also our concerts usually. So earlier, I think I mentioned the seating chart for or chamber orchestras. So this one is maybe it's not too clear, but yeah, this was our seating arrangement. So I hope you can see my laser pointer. So in here is the first violins section, and then the other half of the violins are on the other side. So it's a little different from what I showed you earlier. And the violas and the cellos are at the back. So we don't have wind instruments in the school orchestra. And just to give you also a little bit of a background, also to share, this person, I hope you can see my laser pointer, is was our concert master. So a concert master is like the leader of the orchestra, chamber orchestra. So usually chamber orchestras do not have conductors. So this person is basically the leader. And then, yeah, next to his seat is the assistant concertmaster. So, yeah, I was able to take some roles, various roles in the orchestra while I was in college. So I became also a concertmaster on my last year. I became a principal instrumentalist. So when you say principal, that is the head of the section, which part. So for example, for the violas, we call the main leader as the principal violist. Or for the cellos, principal cellist, like that. Okay, so that was yeah. Those are the positions, the leading positions that we have in the orchestra. And yeah, sorry, I cannot share any other photos because my external hard drive got corrupted. So my precious videos and photos of my college life are already gone. So I wish I could share more, but this is all I could find. So I hope yeah, everybody can relate somehow to maybe if you have seen musicians playing in the malls or on the streets. Yeah, it's a little similar for us back then. And then on another note, so I also, well, when I graduated college, of course, I became freelance musician, freelance instrument teacher. But currently, I am working in DCEC as a governess. So on my spare time off, so I try to engage myself as well to continue playing music. So I belong to the Enigma String Quartet or Trio. So sometimes we miss one member, so only trio, so three members. So yeah, we used to play a lot in weddings before. So yeah, for example, this photo and then yeah, this one especially. This was right before the pandemic hit the world, and this was one of our engagements, wedding engagements when during the pandemic when things got a little better. So yeah, I really hope I can continue to become or I can continue to share music with others, even if I'm an English teacher currently. Right, that's it for that. And now I want to talk about conservatory life and music education in the Philippines. So I want to start with conservatory because that's where I came from. That's where I studied. So let's have a mini peek or glimpse at that. So basically, a conservatory is a college for the study of classical music and other arts. So usually, some people might confuse Bachelor of Arts. No. Bachelor of Music? Yes, it's conservatory. So this is from the word conservatorium or conservare in Italian, meaning to preserve. So, what do we preserve? We preserve classical music. So, this is like a passing of generation, passing of music from different generations. So, yeah, when we try to play pop songs or other types of genre in the conservatory, our professors would say, please stop, please focus on your classical pieces. So definitely they want us to continue studying classical music. Now, under Bachelor of Music in the Conservatory, there are many other different how to say majors, so to speak. So my current major it was music education, but we also have music technology, music business, music therapy under this course, it's Bachelor of Music. So if anybody, maybe if you have children or you have somebody you know who's interested in taking up music, then definitely they would enroll in a Bachelor of Music course with specifically picking maybe music therapy or composition, performance, like that. Okay. And then, yeah, these are 6 things that I think I would like to share with you because if you are a musician, actually, you can relate a lot. If you know somebody who studied in a music school, conservatory, yeah, they can also relate. But it doesn't matter. It's okay if you don't have anybody you know in the music industry. So if it's just you listening to me, I hope I can share with you some of my experiences. So first, we have practicing is life. Yes. So when I was in college, we of course had academic subjects, right? So that's part of the school curriculum. But we also had other music subjects which were very focused on performing, like singing in a choir or a chorale, or playing instruments with other people. So we call it ensemble music. And then we also have our major instruments and minor instruments that we had to practice. And we had a lot of performances in all throughout the year. So if you're not practicing, then yeah, it's not, you're not being serious about music. That's what they say. So that was our life practice. And then next one, learning the piano is a must. This is very true to especially music education majors, because when you are a classroom music teacher, you should know how to play the piano. You cannot say, I don't know how to play the piano. Ah, but you graduated in a conservatory, right? So it's already expected that we should learn the piano. So this is also my minor instrument. Okay, next one. Yes, rehearsals are before performances, usually 1 to 3 months ahead. Yes, especially concerts. So preparation is really, really important for performances. But sometimes it's not the case. Sometimes we get like, can you play in this event next week? And then our leader would say, oh, okay, we accept. And then we start cramming. So, I have a lot of pieces to practice. I have this subject, and also the additional one. So definitely some performances cannot have 1 to 3 months ahead preparation, but that's the ideal. Okay, next one, monthly recitals. Yes. So when I was a music student, our conservatory always had recitals every month. So it is a prerequisite, or it's necessary for a music student, to perform in a monthly recital at least once, so that they can take the examination. So no monthly recital, no examination. Yeah. But I also think, recitals are important for exposure. So if you have a child, or if you are also a musician who plays an instrument, definitely I would say please attend, join as many recitals as you can. So you can build your confidence and your mastery. So yeah, I think that's one of the most important parts of being a musician, attending recitals. And the next, average duration of BM, or Bachelor of Music courses, is 5 to 7 years. So yes, why 5 to 7 years? Usually, course is just 4 years, right? So in music, usually the first 4 years are for the academics, and then the other music subjects. And then the fifth year usually becomes the year of preparation for what we call the solo graduation recital. So that is the final requirement that we have as BM students. So you need to deliver one whole concert, 45 minutes to 1 hour of concert, all by yourself as the main artist. So that's very complicated, especially if we're talking about classical music. So it's not an easy thing. 6 months is usually not enough to prepare. Okay, so some people take up more than 7 years, actually. Some don't finish their degrees anymore. But yeah, that's the average is 5 to 7. And last but not the least, competition is the name of the game. Yes. In in conservatories, definitely you will see a lot of people who are competitive. And as a performer, you will always be compared to other people. So, this is a new person. Okay, let's see what's the level of their musical ability, and then they start comparing the new person to the older person, and then during recitals they would definitely compare. Your playing is much better than this person. So even if you don't mean to compete with the other person, if you're always compared, then there becomes like a slight competition. Yeah. I remember maybe in my case, one of my how to say it, lower batchmates, Kohai. So he told me that okay, you are my rival, he said to me. And I was like, why? But it was more of like a friendly rivalry for us. So the important thing is that you do more of a self competition. So don't, yeah, especially if you're a musician, I would advise don't compare yourself to other musicians. So just focus on your personal growth. So comparing yourself to others will just make your impression on yourself low. So that's a very important lesson. Okay. Now, just very briefly, I want to touch on the music education in the Philippines. So we'll go from general to music education. So generally, so we had from 1930s, we had 11 years of basic education. So 7 years primary education, 4 years secondary, high school, basically. And then 1944 until 2012, it became a standard to have 10 years. So 6 years of primary education and then 4 years of secondary education. Yeah, this was the period that I remember from my own schooling. So, all in all, that's 14 if you have 4 years of college. So later on, the government started to become more focused on how to improve the educational system. So in 2012, kindergarten became mandatory. And then from 2012 to 2013 until the present, so sorry, we now have the what we call the K to 12 curriculum. So this was because the Philippine government wants our children, our young ones, to be more globally competitive. So K is for kindergarten, and then 6 years of primary education, 4 years of junior high school, and 2 years of senior high school. And then actually, after senior high school is like the specialization part. That's why 2 years. So after that, the student can choose if they want to continue with college or no need. So all in all, that would be, yes, 13, yes, plus 7, plus 4. So 17 years if you finish from K until kindergarten to 4 years of college. So mostly that's the case nowadays. So for the music curriculum, I don't want to bore you with the details, but just to give you a summary of kindergarten to grade 3. So this is more of the experiential type of learning. So the students experience things more, singing and then dancing a little. Yeah, we have dancing as well incorporated in music. So from grade 4 to 6, this is where the music theory really becomes important. So they learn about the, not only the types of notes, for example, they learn how music goes. So how they compose, or how what is the progression of different sounds, like that. So that's the formal part of music from grades 4 to 6. And then now we go to grade 7 and 10. So this is really specialized in the sense that each year has a focus. So first we have Philippine folk music and arts on grade 7. So that's our own. And then we deal with Asian music in grade 8. So definitely that part, we study about Japanese, Chinese, yeah, even, yeah, other Asian countries, Korean or Indonesian. Yeah, I do remember this actually. This was one of my, how do I say it? I didn't hate this subject, but it was a lot of theory and history as well. So it was quite a difficult moment when I encountered Asian music in my younger years. And then we have Western music and arts, more on the European, American music. Yeah, so it's starting to become more focused on the classical side and also the modern side. And then that that ends in grade 10, wherein the focus is really contemporary. When we say contemporary, it's modern. So, yeah, maybe commonly we understand contemporary or modern music as pop music. Yeah, that is included. And then there are also other art music forms that were created during the modern period. So that's until grade 10. That's junior high school. And from 11 to 12, that's senior high school. It's more of like a specialization. So if they choose to really focus on music, students can actually start learning in the conservatory from grades 11 and 12. So that's for the music curriculum. Now, maybe you might ask me, of course, K to 12 was not yet there when I was studying, when I was in elementary or so. You might ask me, how did you get interested in taking a music course? Yeah, it's actually a very long story, but generally speaking, music is one of the things that is really closely part of our culture in the Philippines. So you probably might see videos on YouTube like Filipino singing karaoke, like in their house. So I think almost everybody has like a karaoke set inside their houses. So yeah, music is really a very important part of our culture and our traditions as well. Okay. And yeah, I'm going to share a few things about the psychology of music, just very briefly, because I don't want to bore you with research data or something like that. So, first and foremost, the psychology of music is about, explaining and understanding musical behavior, and experience. So, how we perceive or how we create, how we respond to music, and how we bring it into our daily lives. So, firstly, I think I want to talk about 4 points. So, first and foremost, it's the effect on children's IQ. So, it accelerates brain development, especially on the side of sound and language development. So, if actually there was a study, what they call the Mozart Effect. So, the experiment was for pregnant women to listen to classical music, especially Mozart's music, while their baby is growing in their bellies. So, it's not yet proven ultimately, but they said that this Mozart effect has helps in advancing the children's brain development, even from the womb, from that very, even though they haven't seen the world yet. So yeah, that's one of the researches that were done with music on children's IQ. Then next is music. Yeah, the brain and behavior. So this is really, I think this has been proven in multiple researches. If you will also look maybe on Alzheimer's disease or dementia, so some there are cases wherein they forget a lot of things, but then when it comes to playing an instrument or when it comes to remembering something related to music, they remember it easily. So it's something that remains in their brains. So that's, I think, aside from learning a language to help us avoid having dementia or Alzheimer's, music can also be very helpful in that. So not only in, of course, in those situations, but even as adults in our case, it helps coordination, memory skills. And in the behavior side, we can have, a sense of responsibility and perseverance. So when you start a piece of music, you can't play it yet. Like, you just read it once, right? It's difficult. So you have to continue practicing it until, you were able to make it sound well. So that's perseverance. So keep it going on doing something. And then, of course, teamwork and collaboration. For basically, if you're playing with other people, playing in a group, it really helps teamwork and collaboration. I appreciated this, especially when I was in the orchestra. Next is the effect on one's mood. Everybody knows this. So, according to studies, there is how to say it? There is a process that happens when we listen to music, specifically when we talk about dopamine, which is like the happy hormone. So it helps us increase our feeling of happiness and decreases feelings of fatigue. But of course, if you listen to sad music, it's the opposite. So it really affects your mood, whatever kind of music you're listening to. Last but not the least, there's music in marketing. Yes, I think everybody knows this. I'm not very sure in Japan, but in the Philippines, if you hear "pa pa ra pa pa," that's McDonald's already. And that tone, that melody is kind of light-hearted. So okay, I can easily go to McDonald's and buy something. So it sets the personality of the brand, and it targets a specific audience. So if you're in marketing, you would want to utilize music for your brand. Okay. So I think that's all for my sharing tonight. But before we go to our question and answer portion, I want to leave everybody with this quote. This is pretty long, but this is from Miss Yuko Honda, who's a violinist who studied under Shinichi Suzuki. Shinichi Suzuki is one of the most renowned violin teachers who created a studying method for violin. So, to summarize the whole quote, so I teach music not because I want you to do this all your life or have fun, relax, but for you to be more human. And honestly, I think in relation to our title, Ebb and Flow, yes, I would agree with this quote because we become more human. We are more sensitive to the beauty around us. And we know that there's a time for silence or ebb, and then there's a time for music wherein we continue on. So there are so many things we can learn from music, and I hope everybody will be able to do that more in the future. Hey. So that's all for my presentation tonight. Thank you for listening.
Bravo!